I used to think betrayal only came from enemies, not from someone you trusted like family. But I learned the hard way. Sometimes the person smiling in your face is the same person destroying your life behind your back. And when I finally discovered what my best friend had been saying about me, I didn't scream. I didn't fight him. I just waited. And when the truth finally came out, he lost everything. My name is Ethan. I'm 29, and 3 years ago, I moved to Chicago to start over after a rough breakup and a dead-end job in Ohio. I didn't know anybody in the city. No family, no close friends, just a tiny apartment, a laptop, and a marketing job that barely paid enough for rent. That's where I met Caleb. Funny enough, he was the first person who ever spoke to me at work. "New guy, huh?" he asked, while holding 2 coffees. I nodded awkwardly. He handed me one. "You look terrified." "Trust me, this place gets worse." I laughed. And just like that, we clicked. Over the next 2 years, Caleb became my closest friend. We watched games together, went to bars every Friday, took weekend road trips. He even helped me move apartments. When my father got sick, Caleb drove me to the airport at 4 in the morning without complaining once. That's why what happened next destroyed me. Because betrayal hurts more when it comes from someone you defended, someone you trusted, someone you loved like a brother. Things started changing after I got promoted. Nothing huge, just team manager. But suddenly, I was making more money, getting invited to executive meetings, and leading projects Caleb used to handle. At first, he acted supportive. "About time they recognized your talent," he told me. But something about his smile felt forced. I ignored it. Big mistake. A few weeks later, people at work started acting weird around me. Conversations stopped when I walked into rooms. Coworkers avoided eye contact. One girl from accounting literally canceled lunch plans with me after acting nervous all morning. I thought maybe I was imagining things. Until one afternoon, my coworker Vanessa pulled me aside. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." She hesitated. "Are you talking about people behind their backs?" I frowned. "What?" She looked uncomfortable. "There are rumors going around that you've been insulting the team, calling people useless, saying you only got promoted because everyone else is incompetent." I felt my stomach drop. "What are you talking about?" She studied my face carefully. And then she realized, "You really didn't say it." That was the moment I knew. Someone was targeting me. Over the next month, things got worse. Rumors spread everywhere. Apparently I was arrogant, manipulative, secretly trying to get coworkers fired, flirting with someone's girlfriend, lying to management. None of it was true. But lies spread faster than truth, especially believable lies. And slowly, people started distancing themselves from me. The office became cold, hostile. Even management started watching me differently. Then came the worst part. One night, I walked into a bar and saw 3 coworkers sitting together. Guys I used to hang out with every weekend. The moment they noticed me, the table went silent. One of them muttered, "There he is," like I was some villain. I turned around and left before they could see how humiliated I felt. That night I sat alone in my apartment, replaying everything in my head. Who would do this? Why? And then I remembered something. 3 weeks earlier, Caleb had asked strange questions during drinks. Do you trust everyone at work? Do you think management plays favorites? Ever feel like people secretly resent you? At the time, it sounded harmless. Now, it felt different. And suddenly, pieces started connecting. I didn't want to believe it. Not Caleb. Anybody but him. So I tested my theory. I casually told Caleb something fake. I said I was interviewing for another company in Seattle. It wasn't true. I just wanted to see what happened. 2 days later, my boss called me into his office. "I heard you might be leaving the company," he said carefully. My blood ran cold. I never told anyone except Caleb. That was the moment I knew. He was the source. But I still didn't understand why. So instead of confronting him, I started watching him. Quietly, patiently. And eventually, I found everything. Caleb wasn't just spreading rumors. He was manipulating people individually, telling different lies to different coworkers. To one person, I was arrogant. To another, I was unstable. To another, I was disloyal. He customized every lie perfectly. That's why nobody questioned it. It felt personal, believable, calculated. And the worst part? He acted like my best friend the entire time. Still texting me memes, still inviting me out, still pretending to care. I remember staring at my phone one night after he sent me, "Proud of you, brother." I almost threw the phone across the room. But anger can make people stupid. And I needed proof. Real proof. Because accusations without evidence would just make me look guilty. So I stayed calm. And I waited. 3 weeks later, opportunity finally came. Our company hosted a rooftop networking event downtown. Lots of drinks. Lots of executives. Lots of careless conversations. I noticed Caleb getting drunk fast. Too fast. And around midnight, he started bragging to a couple coworkers near the balcony. I stayed hidden behind a wall nearby. Then I heard it. "I built Ethan's entire reputation," Caleb laughed. One coworker frowned. "What do you mean?" Caleb smirked. "Come on, you really think people suddenly hated him naturally?" My heart started pounding. The coworker looked confused. "You started those rumors?" Caleb took another sip. "He stole my promotion. I just balanced the scales." I immediately pulled out my phone and hit record. Every word after that made me sick. He admitted everything. The lies, the manipulation, the fake stories, even the Seattle rumor. Then he laughed again. Guy still thinks I'm his best friend. I remember gripping my phone so hard my hand hurt. But I stayed silent. Because finally, I had evidence. The next morning, Caleb texted me. "Crazy night, lol." I stared at the message for almost a minute, then replied, "Really crazy." That entire week, I planned carefully. I didn't want revenge driven by emotion. I wanted truth, public truth. So I scheduled a meeting with HR and senior management. At first, they looked skeptical, until I played the recording. The room went dead silent. One manager actually removed his glasses and rubbed his face slowly, like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. HR asked me to forward the audio immediately. Then they launched a full investigation. And within days, everything collapsed for Caleb. Coworkers started coming forward. Apparently several people had noticed inconsistencies in his stories before. Others admitted he constantly gossiped about everyone behind their backs. The investigation uncovered months of manipulation, fake screenshots, edited messages, selective lies. It was worse than I even realized. And eventually, Caleb got fired, officially terminated for workplace misconduct and harassment. But honestly, losing the job wasn't even the worst part for him. The worst part was losing the image he built. Because once people discover you're fake, they start rethinking every interaction they ever had with you. A week after he got fired, Caleb showed up outside my apartment. I almost didn't open the door, but curiosity won. The second I saw him, he looked different, exhausted, desperate. "Can we talk?" he asked quietly. I crossed my arms. "About what?" He looked down. "I messed up." I laughed bitterly. "Messed up? Ethan?" His eyes filled with frustration. "You don't understand." "No," I snapped. "You don't understand." For the first time in weeks, my anger exploded. You watched people turn against me. You watched me suffer. And you smiled in my face every single day. He stayed silent, because there was nothing he could say. No excuse big enough. Finally, he muttered, "I was angry." I shook my head slowly. "So you tried to ruin my life?" He looked ashamed. But honestly, I didn't care anymore. The friendship was already dead. I opened the door wider and pointed toward the hallway. You need to leave. Ethan, we're done. And then I closed the door in his face. Forever. The crazy thing about betrayal is, it changes you. After Caleb, I stopped trusting people so easily. Stopped oversharing. Stopped assuming loyalty was permanent. But I also learned something important. Silence is powerful. Because if I had reacted emotionally from the beginning, nobody would have believed me. People trust calm evidence more than emotional truth. And eventually the truth exposed him better than revenge ever could. Last I heard, Caleb moved to another state. Apparently he struggled finding work after word spread through our industry. As for me, things slowly improved. Coworkers apologized, management restored my reputation, and for the first time in months, I could finally breathe again. But even now, years later, whenever someone says, "Trust me," a small part of me remembers Caleb. Smiles hide knives behind them. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? And what would you have done?